Okay, so let me introduce myself again. I'm Benedikt and work for the city of Prague for past 1 year. Previously, I was your finance, and I was responsible for data project manager, and we run the data portal and focus a lot on transparency. But then I decided that smart city is much more interesting, so I don't focus on open data only. The project we run is about building a data platform for smart city solutions and also building databases of data analysts and developers. Okay, louder a little bit. Is it better? Yeah. Okay. On data integration, on storage, and also providing data from which of them is actually the public. So that's where the open data comes in mind. So, but together, for a better idea, I can share something. Can we see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So, for example, this is our solution where you can integrate it. So the first thing we do, we integrate data to our data platform. And this is one of the views we have on the data. You can see it on the map. So we focus like sensory data about parking, about cycling, about position of public transport, but also about environment. You can see the environment, pollution, these kind of things, and pilot project for smart lighting. So you have a solution through which you can actually turn off lights and sort of things like, as I said, like pollution, counting people that are going through some area, and we analyze the data as well. We have some view, you can take a view of the data, but this is just a solution that shows you the data. But what actually we do is we work with the data a lot in terms of that we always have some idea or challenge that we're facing, and it comes from the management of the city. And one of them, for example, is parking. And what we do that we focus on the problems. We focus on the problem-solving approach. It means that we have some kind of problem, and regarding parking, the problem is that you don't know actually where you can park at the moment. So we want to the information about where you can park at the moment. That's one kind of issue. But the other one is information when you can park hours. So we're working on gathering the data, publishing them through open real-time API, but also we work on prediction models. So that's on. The difference is that open data and we don't want to of data sets data. The way we see issues for about the prediction models, it's interesting questions and that can solve mathematical and statistical issues. So what we did is we get the data, historical data, publish them as open data, and actually somebody made for us, and they did it better than us. But so we publish open data, and we have our portal, data portal, which is called Kolemio. We publish the data there. You can still see my screen. And so we focus on issues. So there is a list of issues we're facing, and if you click on that, for example, you can see description of the data, description of the issue that we're facing to, and there might be some visualization on other kinds of data. Understand what's in there. This is, for example, about biking, so we're showing what you get. For example, this is data visualization of bicyclers going through the Prague. and then you can work with them, and you can try to help us to solve the issue actually. So that's different approach. Prague's open data, hundreds of data sets published by various Prague districts, but our approach is that one, that we always need one of the issue and one of the thing we want to help to city is about smart city data standardization. Open data helps us a lot in that. So we are integrating data and we are working on methodology on smart city data. And we have it also on our websites where we describe what the data is about, what they should, and the city of Prague, what they should put in contracts with smart city solutions, so they can be sure that they will have access to data, and we can integrate the data, and we will do that for them, and then we can publish open data. So what we're doing now is that we're publishing sensoric real-time open data through open APIs, and we're testing the reusability of the data. That's how open data is helping us a lot. So we get really good feedback on what you can do with the data. And there was a question at the beginning on who is the architect of smart city. I think everyone answered. Most of you answered that it is actually the citizens. So I believe that it should be. But I think right now is that the architect are the suppliers, actually, technology companies, and that's not the good way to go, actually, and that's what we're trying to change. Also, the city is the architect, so the city, with help of citizens, is the architect of the smart city, because right now what the companies, what they're doing is they can provide you along with the data visualization, some kind of, but it's only their view on what you should see. And very often the cities, the officers in the city experience, so they can data in any way. So, is that we data, and we can work with the most way, because we have the raw data. That's it. That's what we focus a lot. The engagement. We had several hackathons, what we call Prague Open Data. So we're trying to get people on board, but we always focus on a specific challenge. And then have some opinion to give us. So, and as well, we're working on publishing open source code as well, and also we are trying the community about open source, actually, for data. Yeah, I believe that's it. That's the brief introduction from me.
Well, thank you very much. And I will bring, you mentioned this Paul, who is the architect of smart cities. So.
Okay, pardon. Okay, yeah.
Exactly, and with the municipalities, companies, and central government. What I think a really interesting outcome of the poll. Can edit now with the results. That showing that, because you are referring to it, and sharing your view and your opinion. The architect should be the municipality or the institution. So thank you for following up on that. What I'm also interested in, you said, and you made it clear that your approach is different than from lots of open data, rather selecting issues and then having the open data to target or solve these issues or problems. And so I was wondering, to select or
always tough one, but actually the priority comes along with the data accessibility. So we made, at the beginning, we made a huge analysis of what information systems that can be available in the short time, because getting data from cities is not always, it's not easy very often. And then we discussed that with are their priorities. This because we will see, but yeah, the actually coming from the politicians. Actually, you want to solve parking problem, measure environment. So it's basically from the management. What we did is that we said we respond to some of the issues is that one because we don't have data, so we can make strategy how to get the data. For example, for sensory network, the city can do and we made a strategy how to access the data so you can answer the questions you have. So that's what we did. But it was one of the biggest issue was the accessibility of the data, and that. So we saw what we can do in a shorter time, shorter period. That was it. And also we have a big concept, which is Smart Prague for another 20 years. So some basis of the issues are actually in the smart city.
Thank you. Pavel just posted a question. Did politics decision about priorities based on hard data from research among people living in Prague, or was internal process only between them?
I don't like about politics is that they have some market researchers. We should answer them the question what they should focus on to get people's votes. So I didn't say the management of the city is something different. Those should be officers that are there for a long time, longer period, and they very often they don't have to do any research. Simply know what's bothering Prague. They should know it. So I don't know actually what research they made, how did they approach the issue. But I believe that the politicians should listen to officers, and the officers should know it. Just know it. You don't have to do a research. If you understand transport, public transport, you just know what's people bothering, and I believe they know it very well. It's up to us to show the potential of the data, how data can help you with that one. That's a new thing, but I believe that actually that there was no research, but it's coming from the people. I believe that it is. It's not just about their thinking that they think that it's an issue. They ask.
Thank you. All right, that answered the question, and I'm really inspired and that you shared your screen. I could see much better how put there and how user-friendly it is, and the approach of targeting problems I find really future-orientated. So thank you for sharing. But in light of time, I will to closing the webinar. I just got a message from Noel, our surprise guest. He cannot make it today. He just arrived last night and got sick, so he's sending his apologies and is very much looking forward to see the recording of this webinar. That all the participants who couldn't, or to all the and will of course also channels. I would like to close the webinar with one last question to all presenters. I would like to ask you if you could send one message to a city that wants to be, what would that message be? Maybe Tanja, would you like to start? Or someone who has already a good...
Wow, what a question. Okay, yeah, okay, at the city of Helsinki, if we wouldn't have that strong mandate to operate within this open data initiative from our city council or city board, we couldn't take any steps, to be honest. So it's very political mandate to do this work and run this cultural change in different in city organizations. So it's very crucial to have their support to move forward. So yeah, I would say that it's very important that our politicians understand this thing and the value of this open data work. So and they give a permission for us to implement this idea. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And my advice would be to concentrate on the different forms of openness, so open data, open APIs, open source code, open collaboration, not only one of them. And I would suggest that mobility data is a good starting point. It's something visual and concrete to everyone every day.
Agreed. Thank you, Tuukka. Benedikt, to you.
Yeah, I have actually a story about that one because I think 3 or 4 years ago there was a conference in Prague where somebody from Helsinki was presenting. I don't know if it was you or somebody else, perhaps. But I remember one thing actually from the presentation, one message, and that was invest in people, just get people on the board, developers, hire them, create system that can help you hire people. And so that's actually something I focused on a lot, and that would be my advice. Just figure out a system how you can get smart people working for a city. Otherwise you cannot have smart city without smart people. Yeah, that's it. Actually I have this from 3 or 4 years ago. So thank you for that one. Actually,
if I can comment, so we actually have coders at the City of Helsinki organization. So and they are very highly skilled guys at the moment, and they are very much supporting this initiative in implementing this initiative, and they are in open source and so forth. So that's very good point.
Yeah, that's what we did. Actually, we hired and were hiring people. So when management of the city came to me and they were, what should we do? How can we support the smart city and smart data management? I said, just give me budget for people.
Right.
And they did actually. So we're hiring developers and data analysts, and that's at the end that's the best thing. It's not about the technology, it's about the people. So you need to find data stories and help you to focus on specific issues, and you need not only analysts.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you very much. I think this can be some very good guidance and inspirations for cities that want to become smart or want interested in open data, and have the feeling we could go on talking about this actually for quite a while. And I'm posting also our email address, so to the participants, whenever you would like to share something. to our presenters. We are happy to be the mediator and just stay in the discussion about topics around open data in the field of smart city. And I want to thank you all very much for joining, especially our guest speakers today. Thank you very much for sharing your experience, your best practices, and your learnings with us. And the point in time, we maybe have another webinar and see what has developed in the meantime, and with cities learning from these great initiatives. And also thank you. Well, thanks to all of you, and I wish you a very nice, good afternoon.
Thank you, Esther. Thank
Okay,
you all.
buddy.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.